everyone, it's Kristen Darcy, and I am so excited for our Tell All Tuesday today. And we're talking about egg donation and gestational surrogacy. And I'm so thrilled to be here with Louise Drain, and she is the founder of Family Inceptions. And she knows for sure that navigating egg donation and surrogacy can be a daunting and frustrating journey. And that's why she started her company. But her story is so powerful and unique that I'm so grateful that you're here today to share that. So welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I was so struck with the power and sense of your service to other, and reading your story. You know, you can't help but get emotional because of, you know, your selflessness. And I know, you know, you began your company after you had this very personal, you know, gift that you gave your cousin. So maybe we could start there.
Yes. So let's see, in 1998, I gave my cousin a kidney. He had been sick for a while, and funny enough, my entire family went to see if they could be a match. And, you know, everybody tested, including myself at the time, a few years before that, and everybody was not a match. And then he ended up having open heart surgery. And after that, I was at work one day, and something just kind of popped in my mind to just like call him and, you know, let him know that you're going to retest. And I did, and he's like, why? And I'm like, well, you know, I don't know. I think I need to retest. So he gave me the name of the person that I needed to call, and they sent a kit over, and I went and they took out a lot of blood, and I'm like, I was like, that day, I was like, are you sure you're going to leave me some to even be able to get anything today, you know? So, but they told me that the results would be back in 3 weeks. And so for 3 weeks, it was 3 nail biting weeks. And I was at work, and I was like, okay, I'm going to call. And I called him and I said, hey, I'm calling. And he was like, well, you know, I don't know why you're bothering. This is just kind of pointless. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to call anyway. And I called, and the lady told me to hold on. And she came back on the line, and she said, yep, you're a match. And I was like, can you repeat that? She's like, you're a match. And I said, well, I kind of cursed at her. And I was like, you're kidding me, right? And she said, no, that's not something that I would ever kid around. So so from there, it was kind of just a whirlwind. It took a lot of months there was a lot of testing, a lot of screening. I saw psychologists and psychiatrists and psych this and psych that. And, you know, and I had more testing than I ever imagined. But you know, I was a match, and we successfully had our surgery November 16th of 1998. And then he was doing great, but then unfortunately he ended up getting E. coli poisoning from the hospital and passed away.
No, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was just like, okay, well, I mean, you know, and at the time I mean, I was young still. I was 23 when I did the kidney donation, and you know, at that time you think you're invincible, right? Mm-hmm. And I was just like, okay, it's no big deal. And I didn't really understand what I had done, what I really just did for somebody else.
The magnitude of that gift, right?
Right, yeah. And, you know, when I had 3 children of my own already at that point. And so, you know, I just, after, it was devastating, of course, to lose him, but, you know, I moved on. But before he actually passed away, though, I had went to go visit him in California. And while I was there, an ad for egg donation. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I could probably do that. Gosh, I have 3 kids. He blew on me and I was pregnant. So, but I was fresh out of surgery. So obviously it wasn't an option. And about a year and a half later, I thought again about that ad that I saw. And I had called the agency and said, a while ago I saw an ad and I'm interested in being a donor, but you're in California. I'm not. Would that be an issue? And they were like, no, actually, it's not an issue for you to be a donor because of your location. The concern really is more so that African-American women don't really have a lot of infertility issues, and so they really don't need egg donors. Now, remember, this is like 1999.
Right. So that infertility, it was very different then. The awareness and the conversation, and because that was right when I was knee deep. So that came from not being educated.
No, clearly.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, well, should anybody ever is interested, just call me. And probably about 8 or 9 months later, I get a phone call that there's a family in Troy, Michigan that would like for me to donate for them. So like, sure, I can definitely do that. And so they sent me medication. They had me go to a monitoring clinic. I did the shots, and they sent me a ticket. I went to the clinic, or I went to Troy, Michigan. A nurse picked me up at the airport, dropped me off at the hotel door, told me she'd pick me up at 7 a.m. the next day. And I'm by myself. There was no companion or anything at those days. And so
can I just stop you for a minute? So you are doing this, and you have 3 children, and you're working full time. So let's just say that, like, you're doing this selfless act, and you're married, you're working full time, and you have 3 children, but you're getting on a plane to go help these people.
Yes.
Okay.
And the funny thing was, that was probably the worst, the worst experience ever. Because, when I gave my cousin a kidney, I didn't do it to get kudos, and I didn't do it because I wanted people to be like, oh, you did such a great job. Right. I did it because he needed a kidney.
Right.
When I decided that I wanted to be an egg donor, I was doing it because, I knew I could easily get pregnant. I figured I had plenty of eggs, so why not give it to somebody else? I had saw the ad with the money, and I'm like, oh yeah, that would be great. And so the feeling that I had of, just being able to help somebody else, and that feeling that I had for my cousin, I assumed that I was going to have the same type of feeling when I did the egg donation.
Right.
And yes, for donation and surrogacy, you get compensated. Lord knows you don't get compensated to give a kidney away.
Right, right.
It's legal, number one.
Yeah.
But number two, you don't go into this because you're doing it for the money anyway.
No.
But so so the nurse picked me up at the airport, dropped me off at the hotel, picked me up the next morning at 7 a.m. She took me to the clinic. They retrieved 27 eggs. They let me rest for like 30, 40 minutes, and took me back to the hotel, dropped me off at the hotel door, handed me the check for $3,000, and said, call a taxi and go home, thank you. And that was it. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's not what I was expecting.
No.
So after that, I was like, okay, that was okay. I did it. I got it out of my system, and I will not do that again. And then about 2 years later, I saw a website called TASC.org. And it was a classified ad website for people that were looking for egg donors and surrogates, and I don't really remember how I even came upon this website anymore. And something in my mind was just like, just go ahead and fill out information, and kind of how you battle within your own mind.
Right.
And I was battling, like, why am I bothering? I mean, these people already told me that there was no need for African American donors, so why am I going to bother? And but I went ahead and did it anyway. And probably within 2 or 3 hours of actually submitting my post, I had so many emails of African American or Black women contacting me that they've been looking for a Black donor for the longest time. They've been having such a hard time finding one. And then at that point, I got to choose who I wanted to work with. So from there, I ended up selecting a family in New Jersey that I helped, and I, it ended up being semi-anonymous, where she knew who I was, and I had a fake name and a fake email, so I didn't necessarily know exactly who she was, but I was still comfortable with that because the relationship was still there. And it was totally different. It was just a drastic difference.
Mm-hmm.
So I did their donation for them. She ended up getting pregnant, but then ended up having a miscarriage. And then after she had a miscarriage, a couple of months later, she ended up getting pregnant on her own.
Wow.
And then a few months later, I got another email just out of the blue saying that, I tried to reach you before, but you had already been matched. Would you consider doing it again? And so I went on to be a donor for this additional couple. And this time it was known. And actually, when I went to do because they were in New York, when I went to travel to do my retrieval, I actually stayed with them.
Oh.
And so we're still actually friends on Facebook, and we talk to each other all the time. And then so in total, I've done 6 donations, twice for the same family. And there I've met some of my egg donor babies. There's actually one that looks just like me.
Oh.
Yes.
And for you, how does that feel?
It feels like my friend's daughter.
Okay.
I have my children.
Right.
And I have 4 children now. And it's not the same. That's my friend's daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, she looks like me, but my friend is her mom. She raised her.
Right.
So, when I see pictures of her on Facebook, I'm just like, oh, she's so cute. Now, one time her mom did call me and say, okay, you know what, we're just going to return her because she's driving us crazy. And I'm like, no backsies.
No backsies.
No. But, so, we're still friends and we talk all the time. And, I see pictures of her. I get pictures of my other donor baby that's in California. They send, holiday cards or whatever. And I look at them as my friend's children, not my children. And because of my donation, and knowing what they have mentioned about, African American women, not needing donors, which we know is not correct. I had thought around 2005 to start my own agency to help minority women specifically to find donors. But at the time, I ended up finding out actually that I was pregnant with my son, and I was working a full-time job, and it was just like, okay, this is definitely not the time. But I decided to start working for an agency to start their egg donor program, and they did surrogacy. And so when I started working with them, I learned about surrogacy, and I was fascinated. I was like, oh my God, I can definitely do this. I had easy pregnancies. I mean, not a single problem with any of my pregnancies. So I'm just like, yes, I can definitely do this.
Oh my God, so amazing.
So I went to my husband and I said, okay, I want to be a surrogate. And he's like, you've lost your mind. You've completely lost your mind. You can't keep giving away your body parts. And I'm like, but it's something that's just been in my heart to do. I can help these people. I can do something. And he's like, okay, but let other people help. You've done enough. And I'm like, no, I really can help these people. So it took a while to get him on board and to just really educate him, because his whole thing was, he was concerned obviously for my health. Obviously I only had one kidney.
A kidney, yes, and you had 4 pregnancies of your own.
Of my own. And he's just like, I no. So it took a while to get him on board, and finally, like he says, I beat him down until he said yes. But now, of course, he's my biggest champion, and and just, especially when it comes to surrogacy, and even educating other people about it now too. Right. So I went on to help a local family here in Atlanta. She was a breast cancer patient, and I ended up having twin girls for them. And then I ended up having a singleton boy for my second couple and a singleton girl for my third. And then after I had my last one, I ended up actually having complications and having to have a hysterectomy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that wasn't expected.
No. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So how many pregnancies in total have you had?
So I've had a total of 7 pregnancies and 8 babies.
And it's all from that, I'm going to help someone.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to you, I could cry, but I'm a crier. But I really could, because you're so selfless. That's just profound, because when you were talking about your cousin, it was like life and death, and that you're this midwife for new people, for people's lives. The profound effect is not just that one baby, it's that ripple effect through generations that neither one of us are going to see.
Exactly. I am definitely a spiritual person. And I truly believe that we are all placed in this earth, or on this earth, to serve one another. And I definitely feel that this is my calling, and I'm not trying to sound cheesy or anything like that. But I truly believe that I am to be of service to others. And I know in this crazy world that we're all living in right now, when somebody hears that, you want to help them, or you want to be of service, or you want to do something, they always think that there is an agenda.
All right, an alternative motive, right? And so I hear you, because every day mantra is, I am particularly helpful and of service today.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, I'm tired of everybody thinking that, in order to help somebody, you have to have an agenda. And it's not. Yes. So, for being a donor or for being a surrogate, I got compensated. And, I didn't create the whole compensation thing. And was it beneficial to me too? Absolutely. But at the same time, especially being a surrogate, there is no amount of money in this world that will be sufficient to give somebody to carry your child 9 months. And not to say that, you owe this person a whole bunch of money. It's not about the money at this point. It's the gratitude. Okay. And I think the problem with this whole world really is that people forget what gratitude really is.
Right.
And, I'm grateful. And I feel like I have to give back because there's just been a lot of things that's happened in my life that have gotten so, there are times where I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to make it. But I did every single time. And I'm like, and I need to be able to give back to other people. If I have the ability or if I have the capability, why can't I? Why shouldn't I? That's we're not just put on this earth just to be selfish people and just care about ourselves. That's why there's a whole bunch of people, so that a whole bunch of people can help everybody else, so we can all help each other.
Right.
So it frustrates me, and I can go on and on and on. So,
well, you know what you said, and it didn't. What you said at the beginning was that feeling I had when I gave my kidney to my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when people experience that feeling, that feeling that you get of service, that quiet knowing that that there's a hand in everything.
Yeah.
That feeling cannot be replaced with money.
No.
And once you get that feeling, that there is order and basis of everything is love, right? And so once you experience that feeling, right? Because you and I have talked, off camera about our belief, right? Our belief that, there's co-creation and there's reason for that and purpose. And, you need to shine your light and be of service to each other here as everyone's learning.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you. And because of your drive, you started your company to be of service with other people too. I mean, you're not directly carrying their baby or giving them another part of your body, but you are orchestrating their desires to create their family. And so it's of a different service, but it's still the same. And I'm right there with you, because people will say to me, I remember when I wrote Girlfriend to Girlfriend, and I was going to clinic to speak about that because I had this horrific loss. I lost my first pregnancy. And I thought to myself, you and I talked about this, and I write about it in my book. I got so mad at God. And I said, oh no, it's not going to go down like this. You're going to send me my babies, and I'm going to dedicate myself for another woman not to have to feel this way. And I remember, I wrote Girlfriend to Girlfriend and then Love and Infertility, and I was on the Today Show and all this stuff. And someone wrote, she's just doing this for the money, as a review. And part of me got a little hooked because that's the anti of me, right? But the other part of me was like, isn't that amazing that they have that perception? Because both you and I know you don't come into this business quote unquote to make money. But there are that group of people that have a perception like that. And for them, that's fine, but we're just not a match. And I think that's part of your basis for your company, because you help people find that energetic match to create your family. And that is so important. And all the while, we're not a judgment of other people, but we're trying to lift it up, sparkle it up, shine the light so that we come together, right?
Yes. I mean, I think that, my husband says this all the time, especially like, when the Powerball or the Mega Millions is really big, and I don't ever play.
I don't either.
But once in a while, if it's really big, I'm like, I'm going to give it $1. I'm like, I can't wait to win. And he was like, why? You wouldn't stop working? And I'm like, well, I wouldn't. I would just, I could just now do it for free. I wouldn't, I wouldn't stop working, because this is truly, definitely my passion. It just, every time a parent comes to me or a surrogate comes to me, I have gratitude, because I look at it as a privilege. it is a privilege for me to be able to help them to bring another human being into this world. You know, when I gave my cousin a kidney, I remember he came into the hospital room to see me because he was doing better than I was after the surgery.
Right, because that has could have a lot of complications.
Absolutely. And he came to visit me in the room, and then, you know, he left, and then he got out of the hospital actually before me. And then when I got home, he came to visit me, and he said, "You know what? I got to pee for the first time like a man in a long time. And that's because of you." So, I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And when I had these babies for these couples, and I saw, you know, when their daughters were born or their son was born, or my last couple, when their daughter was born, and they're crying and they're saying, "Oh my God, we would have never had this without you." It was never about, "Oh my gosh, how much money can I make?"
Or what is this doing for me?
Right, no. Exactly. It was seeing these people, like, you get to see their vulnerability, you get to see their pain, you get to see, you know, the depths of their souls sometimes. You know, when clients come into my office and they have gone through the ringer, they're down and out, and this is their last hope. It's like, it's not about, oh, okay, well, my bottom line is that I need to, you know, have this many couples.
Right. It's the fourth quarter and I'm going to close my books. That doesn't even come into any of this.
No, not at all. And I'm just like, you know, and even with the surrogates, when they come, or even the donors, and I'm explaining it to them, like, when you do this for the first time and you get to hand that baby to those parents, it's a feeling like you will never experience unless you do it again. It's a feeling like no other.
Right.
And it's like, I can't really verbalize it. I can't really put it into words. I just know how it makes me feel. And it's an amazing feeling. It far exceeds money or material things or, you know, whatever. It's just, you know,
isn't it the oneness? Because we're all one, you know, it's the connection and the oneness that we're not separate. We're all that one body, and that one moment of pure connection.
Yep. Yeah.
But you know, I'm so grateful for your sharing and your just being here. You know, your light on this planet, and I'm so grateful that we had this opportunity to talk about what you do. And now, if someone is listening to this and saying, "God, I got to find her. I got to talk to her. I got to get to her. I got to be with her," how do we do that?
So the best way to find me is just to go onto my website, familyinceptions.com, or they can always call, and the number's 844-404-BABY. So, you know, easy enough, right? And they can, you know, I definitely provide a 3-hour consultation. And my consultation isn't just about what we're going to do as an agency. My consultation is preparing them so that if they decide, I can't do the agency route, it's too expensive, I've just kind of given you a little bit of a synopsis of so that you can go ahead and move forward and even try it on your own if that's what you have to do. So, you know, I'm about educating people. I don't feel like we should just because we have the knowledge and it's a business that, if you don't want to work with me, that I can't give you information or that I can't help you. That's so far from the truth. I also lead 2 infertility groups here in Atlanta. And some of these women have nothing to do with third-party reproduction. It's just they are going through infertility. And when you get to see and you get to build a relationship with these people that are going through all of these things that they're going through, the emotional, the physical, just all of that.
Financial, spiritual,
everything. You can't but help to want to help.
Right.
And it's just like, and if you don't, then it's just like, what's wrong with you? Do you not have feelings? Do you not hurt when other people hurt? Like,
you're such an empathetic person, so that you can just key in right with what people need. And that's why, I'm so in awe of all the fertility peeps. I call us our fertility peeps, because we all have that drive, that directive of service, right? The directive of helping, of uplifting. And, I just can't say enough wonderful things about you. And so I so appreciate you sharing. And of course, all the information is going to be right under this video. And all you have to do is click a link and they'll find you. So and they can also reach out to you about those 2 support groups in the Atlanta area.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. One is through my church, and then one is through an organization called Fertility for Colored Girls.
Great. I love that. So one of the things I always ask is, what is one thing that you know now that you wished you knew way back when? One little pearl of wisdom. Right? Wow. And you gave us a whole bunch, to be based in service and to,
when I gave, like I had said earlier, when I gave my cousin a kitty, I just was just giving my cousin a kitty. I didn't really put anything, the 2 and 2 together. And it wasn't until years later, I was actually just kind of having a quiet time, and I was just kind of praying, and it just was really put on my heart that, that whole part, because obviously losing him 6 weeks later, I definitely had the, why God, why would you have to go through that and do all of that, and then now be with only 1 kidney and take him away.
Well, you know what I thought when you were saying that, and I don't want to interrupt you because you're in the middle of your pearl, but you gave him that gift for him to say, I peed for the first time like a man.
Yes.
And then he passed after. Like, you let him pass in peace.
Yeah. And the thing was, I realized that was a catalyst of what it really truly meant to be selfless. And me learning from then what selfless was. And it's not just to even serve other people, on the outside, just even with my own family, with my children, with my husband, because we get so comfortable that you get to the point where it's like, okay, it's all about me. You need to do what I want you to do, and I learned from that beginning, even though I didn't know that that's what it was at the time, about having and being willing to help others without necessarily having something back in return, because
personal gain in return, right?
You just do it because that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So, yeah.
I love that. My mom taught me that. My mom taught, we didn't have a lot growing up, but we always had room for one more.
Yep.
And you know what? We always did.
Yep.
We always had room for one more at our table, even though we didn't have a lot. And every time we thought we didn't have a lot, we thought we had more, So it's that, without, without the what's in it for me, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
what a great way to spend our Tell All Tuesday talking about this, because it's not, you know, I always say it's not about the baby.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not. It's a bigger picture. Well, I love you, and I'm so grateful for this time. And God, thank you so much for everything that you do.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come and share, and you know, and just for everybody who is out there struggling, dealing with this, or you know, and just thinking it's never going to happen for me. It will. You know, sometimes, unfortunately, it takes longer. It's hard. It's not an easy walk. But I also look at sometimes when you're chosen to do that hard walk is because God knows that you have the strength that you may not know you have, but you have to continue on. So,
oh, I love you. Thank you. I love you. Thank you so much.
bye.
Bye.